All right, so we're exploring linear equations here, and this is a word problem type worksheet, and so we'll get some practice with the word problems here. So this is choosing a gym membership, page 1. So do any of you, I don't know, you guys are in grade 9, maybe you don't, does anyone have a gym membership to a gym outside of our school gym? Kind of. Okay, we have kind of. Maybe, yeah. Okay, it's not yours, but you go to the gym sometimes. Okay, all right. So in the future, you may want to be a part of you might want to take out a gym membership. And what that means is that you have access to, the gym down the street there that has all the equipment and everything you could think of. The treadmills and the stair climbers and all the free weights and the machines, everything. And so that might be something that's part of your sort of health strategy there. So there are different kinds of memberships. There are different memberships that cost different amount of money, and there's details that you might want to consider as you choose between memberships of different gyms. So this is the kind of thing that you'll be faced with maybe one day when you want to do this. So you might think you like to try joining a gym someday. There are 3 different plans available, and you're trying to figure out which one is best for you. So the description of each of these plans, what we're going to do is we are going to test some scenarios of, after month 1, how much would this cost, and month 2, and so on. So plan A is $20 per month. That's it, just $20 per month. Plan B has a $40 startup fee, so you owe $40 before you even start, and then it's only $10 per month. Oh, okay. Plan C has a $100 startup fee, plus $0 per month. Oh, that's interesting. So that must be for some term maybe, but $100 and then it's $0 per month. So we're going to go with those 3 plans. Now, obviously, there's a difference between each of those 3. So what do those differences look like? So together, I'm going to help you start to do this, and I'm going to give you some time to finish it. All right. But let's make a table of values that considers the number of months and the cost for each plan. So let's start with plan A. It's simply $20 a month, okay? So at 0 months, okay, I think we're gonna start with $0 at 0 months. So at the very beginning, you don't owe anything, okay? So zero months, you haven't gone at all yet, so you don't owe anything. After 1 month, how much do you owe? What's the cost? The total cost? $20 for the first month. Okay, after 2 months, the total cost due would be 40. 3, 60, and so on. So you go ahead and complete this chart all the way down. And you might want to just finish the one column and then do the other one. We're adding 20 each time, aren't we? Okay, so remember, each one of these points, and this would be like a point if we were thinking about a graph. I always think about graph when I think table of values. So this would be a coordinate. After 3 months, you owe $60. That's how much you've paid, okay, or how much the total cost is. After 7 months, the total cost would be $140. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at plan B. $40 startup fee plus $10 per month. So at 0 months, that's when you start at 0 months. So you already owe $40. Everyone see that? So if you have a $40 startup fee, that's $40 that you owe before you even start. Okay. Now after 1 month, what is the cost per month? It's $10 per month. So after 1 month, what's the total cost to you there? Ah, very good. It's the 40 plus the 10. So I'll just write that out. It's the 40 startup plus $10 for the first month is 50. Okay? So it's going to be 50. Good. After 2 months, 60. Good. We're just adding 10 now each month, right? So we have initial startup, and now we just add 10 each month. So go ahead and finish that column. Okay, so you should have your table of values mapped out here. What we're going to do is we're going to graph each one of these. I should make that a little smaller. We're going to graph each one of these situations. All right, now we haven't spent a lot of time on graphing yet, but you guys have done graphing before in previous grades, and so this shouldn't be a big deal. But we're gonna do a graph for each one. I realize this is a bit small. I'm trying to keep everything on the same screen. So we're gonna analyze the tables of values as to which might be the best plan for you, and there may be different reasons why you would choose a different plan. And so this is where we start to think critically about math, and word problems often don't just focus on skills, like completing that table would be a skill, right? You know what the startup fee is, you know how to add $10 a month or whatever. That's a skill, okay? A math skill that you need to be good at. But the real reason why we learn the skills in math is to be able to apply those, right? To think about how we can use those to solve a problem, to make sense of the world, to help us in developing technology and all that sort of stuff. So we want to think about and we want to analyze and we want to think critically about what might be the best for us in this situation. So this is where you get to think about your future and think about things outside of numbers at times. So it says if you were choosing between the 3 plans, which would you choose? Now you want to think about such things as how long you might be a member at the gym for. If you're going to be a member for 3 years, that's a long term. If you're going to be a member for 6 months and just try it out, you have to consider that too. Like, 6 months you're going to move away or something. Or 3 months you're moving away. So you're just looking for something for really short term. Who knows? So you have to think about that. So you want to explain your choice thoroughly using what you've learned from analyzing the tables and the graph. So let's graph each one of these. Okay, let's graph the plan A first. And it's in red there, so I'll use red for the graph. Now I know that your table is on one side and the graph is going to be on the other. I would suggest doing the graph either on a loose leaf piece of paper, or if you have graph paper, you can do the graphs there. That would be nice and easy to do. Or just do it on the second page, and I'll try and have these tables in view for you. Okay, so a rough graph. If you do not have graph paper, if you have a ruler, that's great. You should use a ruler to make straight lines. But if you don't, just make as straight a line as possible. And you can use any straight edge. You can use the edge of your textbook, edge of your notebook, whatever. Just make some relatively straight lines. Okay. So here's going to be the graph plan A. I'll just put plan A graph here. So plan A. All right, so the points. We're going to put the points on the graph. And as I mentioned earlier, the points are going to be the partners, the month and the cost associated with it. So we've got a point of 0, 0. That's the first point that's going to go on this graph. And I should label my axes on the graph first. So I know that I'm going to start at 0. There's really no sense me putting negative numbers for the time, right, for the months, because we're just starting from month 0 and going on. We're not going back in time. And of course, we want to put the time, okay, on the x-axis because that is the independent variable, right? The cost depends upon the time. So time is independent and cost would be over here on the side. Cost. Now, we also do on our graphs, and this is really important. I'm going to spend more time in 4.2. We're going to talk more about graphs and the details of graphs, but I'm going to just quickly mention it now. For each graph, you should have a title. You should label your axes. You should also have the units, please. So the units, and this is just months. Okay, the time is measured in months here. These numbers are going to have a unit of months. The cost is going to be in dollars, and you can usually just write the symbol. You don't have to write out the full word. So the cost is going to be in dollars, of course. Okay, so this is looking like a good graph so far. What I want to do is I want to spread out my values on the x column or the independent variable. I want to spread those out as much as possible. So I'm going to try and use the whole graph. I'm going to put 10 on the very end, and halfway I'm going to put 5. And then depending on if you have a graph paper, you can count 10 spaces if you want. You can count 20 if you want, and then mark each accordingly. For me, because I have a blank piece of paper, I'm going to do my very best just to separate this as best I can. So I'm going to go, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to separate those as evenly as possible. All right. Now already I don't feel like I'm doing this very, very well, but as best you can, spread those evenly, and you can use your graph lines to help you. So each of these lines now is going to be a month, right? You don't have to label all of them per se. You can label every second one. I'm just going to leave mine here because it's going to be a pretty tight graph for me. So I'm just going to go 0, 5, and 10. All right. Okay. So You know, as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is, now that I think about this a little more clearly, I'm going to put all the graphs, all the lines on the same graph so we can judge them better. So you don't have to change too much here, but I'm just going to change this title now just to plans. Okay, so plans. So you can just erase that A if you want, just put plans on there. Because I'm going to put all three on at once, because will help us to evaluate these plans. It'll help us to get some really important information. So you don't have to change too much here, but the cost, okay, the cost of these plans, plan A goes all the way to 200 there. You see that? Plan A goes to 200. So guess what? I have to have 0 as the smallest value. I have to have all the way to my largest value, which for all three of these graphs would be 200. So I have to have 200 there. Let's make 200 at the top. So 0 is going to be on the bottom there and 200 on the top. So that would mean, and let me zoom in here now so you can actually see what I'm doing. So that would mean that I should evenly space out some of my numbers. So I'm going to put 100 here, of course. And let's go, you know, like 20, 40, 60. Let's do tens. So 20, 40, 60, 80. 20, 40, 60, 80. I'm going to do something like that. So it's at 20s, I guess I should say 20s. So you can label some more of those. That'd be great. All right. So my graph is pretty compressed there right now. Yours hopefully is a little more spread out, but we'll see. Yes? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Okay, so I need to start plotting the points here, and again, I don't want to take too much time. I want to let you guys do some of this. So I'm just going to get you started here, and you should have a different color pen or mark these maybe points a different way so you can see the difference between the three graphs on this. So just for optics here, I'm going to make this bigger now. Let's spread this out a little bit so you guys can see this a bit better. Okay, so the points are going to be 0, 0, which we'll plot right now, 0, 0. So I'm going to make a kind of a bigger circle here so you can see that. 0, 0, and then we're going to have 120. So 120, that's going to be right there. And then we're going to have 240. So 240. 3. Now, and remember, for those of you that are maybe forgetting this, the first coordinate, the first value there, is the x. So you go 3 units to the right, 3 months over to the right, and then up $60, put a point. So 3, I'm going 3 to the right, and then I'm going up to the 60 mark. So right in line with the 60, and that's where I put the point. Okay? 480, 5, 100. 6, 120, 7, 140, 8, 160, 9, 180, and 10, 200. So if you've drawn your scaling, you know, spread out nice and evenly, you should have points that form a straight line, right? This is it's a linear relation because we've gone up the exact same amount every time, right? You go up 20 every time. Now we won't worry about the equation here right now. You could build the equation too, but I just want to focus on the graphs here today. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to get you guys to do is to fill out Plan B and Plan C. So obviously we've got Plan A in red. I'm going to change Plan B is going to be in black, and then I'll probably do blue for Plan C. Okay. So go ahead and finish this, put your points on there. And can you connect the points? Well, yes, you can connect the points. We won't get into whether you should connect the points here or not, but yes, you can connect the points and draw a line. It might be just easier for you to see sort of what's happening, okay? So I would suggest that you go ahead and connect the points. Use your ruler. I'm not going to have a ruler here, so mine might be a little shaky, but try and make as straight a line as possible through all the points. It should be a straight line. Okay? All right, so go ahead and finish those two, and then I'll meet you in a couple minutes here. All right, so here are my 3 graphs on the same grid with the same scale, and I've got plan A as the red one, plan B is the black one, plan C is the blue one. Does anyone have the 3 graphs that look just like that? Look pretty close to that? Okay, so let's just examine this. I put the points in red there. We have a straight line, excellent. And the straight line goes up by 20 each time. Okay, so it jumps 20 for every point that I put on. The black line starts at 40. You see 0, 40 as a coordinate there? So it starts at 40 right here, and it jumps up 10 each time. So it's the slope is not quite as high for the second one. So it's pretty steep for the first one, but it's not quite as steep for the second one because we don't jump up as much. Now the third one, we start at an extremely high value, but it does not change at all. And so it's flat. So it does not, there's no charge per month. So it stays at 100 all the time. Now let's look closely at this graph. So this is the essence of mathematics, data collection and analysis. This is where you can get a lot of information out of these 3 that you wouldn't be able to just see from the descriptions, right? If we just look at the descriptions, okay, here's our descriptions. I have no idea, which one's better for me. I'm going to stay long-term in this gym, so I don't know. Let's see. Well, if you think about the points and you think about the graph, this is what you can determine. If you plan to stay for long-term, like 10 months, let's say, which graph has the lower total cost? Yeah, plan C. You see, it's down here. It's got the lowest total cost. It's 100 the whole time. So at 10 months, it's 100. The other ones at 10 months are going to be, and we'll look at the points here, 140 and 200. So they're going to cost more at 10 months. Okay. Now, what if you only planned to go to the gym for 2 months? You're moving from the city in 2 months. You want a membership for 2 months. Which one would you choose for 2 months? The first one, plan A. Why? Because the graph is, the points on this red graph is the lowest. That's $40. At 2 months, it's $40, okay? At 2 months, it's $60 for the next one, and 2 months is still $100. So if you're only gonna be for 2 months, don't take plan C, right? It's gonna cost you way too much. All right, at what point would plan B start to be a better deal than plan A? At which, sorry? At 5 months. Okay, well, here's 5 months. And certainly plan B has a lower amount than plan A. I guess my question, what I was thinking of, where does it start being a better deal? Anytime after 4 months. Because look at, they're the exact same at 4 months. Now let's just check that, see if my graph is true. So black, okay, so 4 months is 80 and 4 months is 80. Do you see that? They're the same amount. So anything after 4 months, if you plan to be part of the gym for more than 4 months, then the black graph is lower, the plan B is lower than plan A, okay? Yeah. So if you only pay monthly, then at the beginning of month 5, you could say it's a better deal now. But we drew a solid line in between the points, so it looks like that anything after 4 is going to be a better deal. The black graph is lower, less money. We okay with that? You see that? So intersection points are very, very important when we're analyzing graphs. Intersection points, where lines intersect or cross over each other. So what can you tell me about 5 months? What can you tell me at the 5 month mark? Anybody want to give this a stab? What is happening at 5 months, or what can you tell me is the situation at 5 months or beyond 5 months? What does that mean? Go ahead.
5 months, the black line is the best option.
Black line is the best option at, yeah, plan B is the best option because it's the lowest. Perfect. What else can you tell me is happening at 5 months?
Plan A and C are the same.
Plan A and C are now the exact same total cost. Okay, because that's the intersection point. Very good. Okay, so if I'm going to be around for 6 months, what would you advise for me? And this is an intersection point. I don't know if you can tell that. So that's an intersection point. So go ahead.
B or C, because it costs the same.
So B or C. So if I'm going to be around for 6 months only, I should consider plan B or C because they would cost the exact same at 6 months. Right on. Now, if plan B was from a different gym than plan C, I might want to consider, which one's closer to my house or which one's closer to work or when am I going to work out, is it newer, better facilities, whatever. So they're the same. So it's other factors now other than cost that you want to consider. Okay, so I'm a gym rat. I'm going to be long term here. I'm going to be here for at least 10 months, maybe more. What would you suggest for me?
C.
Someone else I haven't heard from. C? Okay, why plan C?
It's cheaper.
Yeah, we mentioned this before, didn't I? I mentioned before, at 10 months, you can see that the amount owing is a lot less for plan C, and we wouldn't want to be in plan A at this point, right? We wouldn't want to be in plan A. However, yeah, I don't know if there are any gyms that actually do this, $100 at the start, and then you can go a long term. That doesn't happen very often. Maybe if it's a brand new gym, you know what it could be? A brand new gym, and say, hey, listen, we need 100 people. If we can get 100 people, or maybe 20 people, 30 people to sign up, we'll give you a lifetime membership for $100. If it's a brand new gym and they don't have much equipment, but they really need cash to get off the ground and to start to build their business, they might offer something like that. You know, I'll say, hey, the first 20 people, $100 a month. That's, how much is that? 20 times 100 is what? Or sorry, 20 times, did I say 10, 20? 20 times 20, what's 20 times 20?
400.
Or 20 times 200 is 1,000, right? 4,000. So let's say they get 20 people at $100. They have, what am I talking about? 100 times 20 is 2,000. Okay, so $100. If they have 20 people sign up, they immediately have $2,000. Let's just say that. That's more reasonable. So now they can buy more equipment, a little bit more equipment. They can improve their signage and their advertising maybe, and then they'll change that plan. But you might get into a lifetime membership for $100. Okay, enough talking. Any questions about this? All right. So I want you to finish this part. So this writing part here, I want you to finish that. I want you to write your own views on this. Tell me which one you would pick and why. Okay? You're not much of a gym person, so you wouldn't stay long term in a gym. So you're going to take one of the plans that costs less over the shorter term, or you're going to be in the gym long term. Blah blah blah. Or you're going to say, I'm going to try it for 6 months, so I'm going to choose plan C just in case I want to keep going, or I'm going to choose plan A no matter what because it's right by my house. So whatever, think about a situation and explain it. What could be yours or anything. I want you to think of different factors as to why you would choose plan A, B, or C. Okay? And you can write that right there. All right, any questions? Okay. I'll go back to page 1 for those of you that need to finish this chart for some reason. There you go. No questions?